You want to get better at English. You want to sound confident, clear, and powerful when you speak. You want people to listen when you talk, and you want to understand every word when they speak back. But here's the truth. Improving your English isn't about talent. It's about daily discipline. It's about building 4 muscles: listening, speaking, reading, and writing, and training them like an athlete preparing for the biggest game of their life. Because language isn't just words. It's a tool that decides how far you go in business, in relationships, in life. Let's start with listening. Most people don't listen to understand. They listen to reply. That's a mistake. You have to train your ear before you train your mouth. When you listen to English, really listen to movies, podcasts, interviews, but not like background noise. Pause. Repeat. Notice the tone, the pause, the emotion behind every word. You're not just hearing sounds, you're absorbing a rhythm, a melody. When you listen this way, your brain starts picking up patterns. You begin to predict how words are used, how sentences flow, how emotions are expressed. Every great speaker first became a great listener. You don't learn to speak by talking, you learn to speak by listening with intent. Then comes speaking, the skill that scares the most people. They wait until they're ready. But here's the secret. You'll never feel ready. You just have to start. The first time you speak, you'll sound awkward. The second time, you'll still sound awkward. The 10th time, you'll be better. And by the 100th time, you'll surprise yourself. Speak out loud daily. Record yourself. Talk to your mirror. Talk to your phone. Talk to your friends. Don't chase perfection. Chase progress. Fluency is not about big words. It's about flow. Confidence doesn't come before speaking. It comes from speaking. You can't think your way into fluency. You have to fight for it in real conversations, in real moments with real courage. Now, reading, the fuel for your mind. If listening fills your ears, reading fills your thoughts. Stop scrolling mindlessly on your phone and start reading things that make you think. Read articles, books, stories, even song lyrics in English. The goal is not to read fast, it's to understand deeply. Read with a pen. Underline new words. Write their meanings. Use them later in your own sentences. When you read every day, you expose your mind to thousands of new expressions, structures, and ideas. Reading expands your vocabulary and sharpens your understanding of how words connect. Every page is like a private conversation with the writer, and every good conversation changes you a little. Finally, writing, the mirror of your thoughts. If you can write clearly, you can think clearly. Writing teaches discipline. It forces your thoughts into order. Start small. Write a few lines each day. A short journal, a caption, a quote you rewrite in your own words. The goal isn't to impress, it's to express. When you write regularly, you start noticing how words come together, how ideas form, how emotion translates into language. And soon you'll realize writing makes you speak better, think sharper, and listen more carefully. It's the hidden power most learners ignore, but those who master it stand out. Improving your English isn't about studying for a test. It's about building a lifestyle. Surround yourself with the language. Hear it, speak it, read it, write it every single day. No excuses. You'll have days when it feels slow, when you doubt yourself, when it seems like you're not improving. But remember this, progress hides behind repetition. Every minute you practice, every mistake you make, every conversation you dare to have, it's shaping you into someone more confident, more capable, more unstoppable. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be consistent. So start today. Turn your phone into your classroom. Turn your fear into fuel. Because one day, the same language that once made you nervous will become the voice that inspires others. And that's when you'll know. You didn't just learn English, you mastered yourself. Listening is the foundation of every language. Before a child ever says a word, they spend months just listening, absorbing the sounds, the rhythm, the tone of the people around them. That's exactly how you have to approach English. You can't speak powerfully if your ears aren't trained to hear how the language truly works. Listening is not passive, it's an active discipline. It's about more than hearing words. It's about catching the emotion behind them, the attitude, in the tone, the music, in the rhythm. When you listen deeply, you begin to understand how English breathes, where people pause, how they stress certain words, how they make sentences flow naturally. The mistake most learners make is they listen like they're checking a box. They play a podcast, a YouTube video, or a movie and let it run while they do something else. That's not listening, that's noise. Real listening requires attention. You have to lean in, focus, and dissect what you hear. Pick a short clip, maybe a minute or two, and listen to it again and again. The first time, just enjoy it. The second time, catch the expressions. The third time, notice the rhythm and tone. Repeat the sentences out loud, match the speaker's pace, feel how the words roll off the tongue. That's when listening transforms from passive learning into muscle training. Start by choosing voices that inspire you. Speakers, storytellers, communicators who make you feel something. When you listen to people who are passionate, your brain wakes up. You start absorbing not just language, but energy. Pay attention to how they handle silence, how they emphasize key points, how they make their words hit with impact. This awareness makes your own speaking more alive, more natural, more human. And don't underestimate how powerful daily exposure can be. Even 10 minutes of focused listening every day will rewire your brain faster than hours of memorizing grammar rules. When you hear real English constantly, your subconscious begins to recognize the structure and melody of the language automatically. You'll find yourself understanding conversations faster, even when people talk quickly. And the moment that happens, your confidence grows. Listening also teaches humility. It reminds you that learning isn't about always having something to say. It's about being open enough to receive. Every great communicator, every great leader, every person who connects deeply with others, they all learn to listen first. So make it a daily practice. Listen with intention. Don't just hear English, feel it. Let the sound of it get under your skin. Let it become familiar, because once your ears truly understand the language, your mouth will naturally follow. That's when you stop forcing English and start living it. Speaking English is where most people hit a wall, and it's usually because they are afraid of making mistakes, afraid of sounding foolish, afraid of being judged. Here's the truth: you will never become fluent if you wait until you feel ready, because readiness is an illusion. Real growth happens in the fire, in the moments when you push yourself to speak, even when your confidence is shaky. The first time you try, your sentences may stumble, your accent may stand out, your words may not come out the way you want. That's fine. Every expert was once terrible. Every fluent speaker started where you are right now. The fire is necessary because it forges courage, and courage is the muscle you need to speak English with power and clarity. To practice speaking, you have to be intentional. It's not enough to just talk to yourself occasionally. You need repetition, feedback, and immersion. Start with small steps. Speak out loud every day, even if it's just reading a paragraph or repeating a sentence from a movie. Record yourself. Listen to the playback. Notice where your pronunciation falters, where your rhythm is off, and then do it again. I promise you, it feels uncomfortable at first, but that discomfort is growth. You can also practice by having real conversations. Find a friend, a teacher, or even an online partner who will speak with you. The more you engage with others, the faster your brain adapts. Mistakes will happen. Accept them. Celebrate them. They are proof you are in the fire, and the fire is where mastery is born. Fluency is less about using big words and more about expressing yourself clearly and confidently. You don't need perfect grammar to be understood. You need courage, rhythm, and repetition. Every time you speak, you are training your brain to think in English rather than translate from your native language. That's the point where real transformation begins. And remember, speaking also trains your listening. When you try to imitate pronunciation or sentence flow, you sharpen your ear at the same time. It's a cycle. Listening improves speaking, and speaking improves listening. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Speak today. Speak loudly. Speak even when it feels scary. Push yourself into situations where you have to communicate. Presentations, casual conversations, debates. Each word you speak is like a rep at the gym. Each sentence strengthens the muscle of confidence. Over time, what once felt impossible becomes second nature. And the day will come when speaking English doesn't feel like work. It feels like expressing who you are. The fire may be intimidating at first, but it's also where you're forged into someone who can communicate freely, clearly, and with impact. So step into it, embrace it, and let the fire teach you what no textbook ever could. Reading is the silent power that separates those who just know English from those who truly master it. Listening trains your ear, speaking trains your mouth, but reading trains your mind. The words you feed your brain shape the way you think, the way you express yourself, and the ideas you can generate. If you want to improve your English quickly, you have to treat reading like fuel. Not just casual entertainment, but nourishment that challenges and stretches your abilities. Don't settle for what's easy or comfortable. Push yourself into texts that make you think, that introduce new vocabulary, new sentence structures, and new ways of seeing the world. Start small, but start consistently. A page a day, a paragraph a day, but make it deliberate. Don't just read, engage. Highlight words you don't know, look them up and write them down. Notice how sentences are built, how ideas are connected, how the tone changes depending on the message. When you read actively, your brain begins to absorb patterns without you even realizing it. Over time, these patterns show up in your speaking and writing. Suddenly, sentences you thought were too complicated to say naturally flow off your tongue because your mind has seen them over and over in your reading. Reading also expands your imagination and your exposure to culture. English is more than grammar and vocabulary. It carries the mindset, the humor, the idioms, and the rhythm of the people who speak it. When you read books, articles, or stories written by native speakers, you're absorbing these nuances. You learn expressions that no textbook can teach you, and you understand context in ways that make conversations and listening easier. You start to think in English instead of translating in your head, which is the single biggest step toward fluency. Consistency is key. Even 10 focused minutes a day of reading will produce results if you approach it with intent. Make it a habit. Keep a notebook for new words, write down phrases you like, and revisit them. Over time, your vocabulary grows, your comprehension sharpens, and your confidence skyrockets. Reading transforms passive knowledge into active skill. Feed your mind with the raw material you need to speak, write, and understand English at a higher level. Remember, reading is more than a task, it's an investment in yourself. Every page you read, every sentence you study, every word you master is another step toward fluency. The right reading material doesn't just teach English, it shapes the way you think, the way you communicate, and the way the world hears your voice. Feed your mind wisely, consistently, and passionately, and the results will speak for themselves. Writing is the skill that turns the chaos in your mind into clarity. Speaking may let you communicate in the moment. Listening may train your ear. Reading may fill your mind, but writing forces you to organize structure and express your thoughts in a way that sticks. It's where your ideas take form and your vocabulary comes alive. Writing is practice with purpose. It's the place where mistakes are safe, where experimentation is allowed, and where growth is undeniable. Every sentence you write is a chance to make your English sharper, cleaner, and more powerful. Start small, but start deliberately. Write about what you know, about what inspires you, or even about what frustrates you. Journals, short stories, summaries of what you read or heard. Every word counts. Don't worry about perfection. The first draft is not about grammar. It's about expression. The more you write, the more you notice patterns, the more your mind learns to form sentences that are logical, persuasive, and natural. You'll begin to see the connections between words, the way phrases flow, and how ideas can be framed to leave impact. Writing is like training a muscle. The more reps you do, the stronger your command of English becomes. Writing also improves every other skill. When you write, your reading comprehension deepens because you begin to understand sentence structures and nuances. Your listening improves because your brain recognizes and internalizes patterns of spoken English that can be mirrored in writing. And your speaking improves because your thoughts, once organized on paper, can be expressed aloud with clarity and confidence. Writing forces reflection. It forces you to slow down, choose your words carefully, and consider meaning. This reflection is what separates someone who knows English from someone who cannot use English effectively. Consistency is the secret. Even 10 minutes a day of writing will compound over time. Keep a notebook, write on your phone, start a blog, whatever works. Revisit your work, improve it, and challenge yourself to express the same idea in multiple ways. Push yourself to use new vocabulary you've learned from reading or listening. Every sentence becomes a training ground for fluency. Over time, you'll find that writing feels natural. Thoughts that once felt jumbled in your head now flow easily onto paper. Writing is more than just a skill, it's a reflection of your mind. It allows you to communicate precisely, persuade effectively, and express your true self. When you write consistently, you're not just improving your English, you're mastering the ability to think, create, and inspire. Turn your thoughts into words and your words into art. That is the power of writing, and it is the key that unlocks mastery of the language. Improving your English is not about luck or talent, it's about discipline, persistence, and the willingness to push yourself every single day. Listening trains your ear to understand, speaking builds your courage and fluency, reading feeds your mind with new ideas and vocabulary, and writing turns your thoughts into clarity and power. Each skill supports the others, and together they form a foundation that can take you from hesitant and unsure to confident and unstoppable. The journey won't always be easy. There will be moments of frustration, mistakes, and self-doubt, but every step you take brings you closer to mastery. Commit to daily practice, embrace the challenges, and immerse yourself fully in the language. Do that, and English will stop being just something you learn and start being something you live. Your voice will be heard, your ideas will resonate, and the world will take notice. The choice is yours. Start today, push through the fire, and let your English become a tool that opens doors you never thought possible.